May promotion ka naman. What?
Ang PNP po ay naka-heightened alert po, hindi dahil po meron po mga balita po about sa destabilization. Ang pambansang pulisya po ay naka-alert because na rin po dito sa mga iba't ibang religious activities relating po dito sa pista ng Itim na Nazareno. Hindi lamang po dito sa Manila, pati na rin po sa iba-ibang mga rehiyon at probinsya. Kung sino man po ang mapapatunayan na nagkalat po itong mga misinformation na ito ay mananagot po sa batas.
From the nation's capital, all sides, all the time, I'm Robbie Alampay.
And I'm Gretchen Ho. The big story tonight.
The Armed Forces of the Philippines opened the year with a surprise change in leadership. Here's what we know. General Andres Centino got reappointed as Chief of Staff of the AFP last Friday. This is the same post he held 5 months prior. Change of command ceremony took place the next day in Camp Aguinaldo with Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin serving as the presiding officer. During his remarks, Centino thanked the president for his trust and confidence. He also called for unity in implementing the law that sets a fixed term for key military officials. Centino's reappointment cut short the term of Lieutenant General Bartolome Bacaro, who succeeded Centino in August last year. Bacaro was supposed to be the first AFP chief to serve a fixed 3-year term under Republic Act 11709.
RA 11709 was signed into law by former President Rodrigo Duterte in April of last year. Under this law, top military officials shall serve 3 consecutive years unless a termination by the president takes place. This covers the AFP chief and the commanding generals of the Army, Navy, and the Air Force. While many were surprised by the reorganization, one former military official had warned about the implications of a reshuffle as early as last year. In his column in the Manila Times, former AFP spokesperson Edgar Arevalo talked about the fates of 2 AFP chiefs of staff. Arevalo warned of possible conflicts in the AFP should appointments get politicized. The PNP, meanwhile, denied the circulating police memorandum purportedly placing all its units under the highest alert status over an alleged destabilization plot in the AFP. PNP spokesperson Colonel Jean Fajardo explained that while there is indeed an instruction to be on alert, it is only for the Feast of the Black Nazarene. The AFP, on the other hand, says there is no unrest among its ranks. This came after several military vehicles were seen inside Camp Crame over the weekend. AFP spokesperson Colonel Medel Aguilar said that the organization is united behind the reappointed Chief of Staff, General Andres Centino.
Ang pambansang pulisya po ay naka-alert because na rin po dito sa mga iba't ibang religious activities relating po dito sa pista ng Itim na Nazareno. Hindi lamang po dito sa Manila, pati na rin po sa iba-ibang mga rehiyon at probinsya.
Wala naman talagang sinasabi na may mga ganong hugong. Ang ating mga sundalo po ay professional at tayo ay sumusuporta sa bagong tirang na Chief of Staff ng Armed Forces of the Philippines na si General Andres Centino.
Changes, meanwhile, are underway at the Department of National Defense. Jose Faustino Jr. resigned from his post as officer in charge of the department. The Presidential Communications Office said that President Bongbong Marcos accepted Faustino's resignation. With this, Presidential Advisor on Peace, Reconciliation, and Unity Advisor Carlito Galvez Jr. has been appointed Defense Secretary.
To talk to us about the leadership changes in the defense and security sector, we have One News Defense Editor Manny Mugato joining us tonight. Good evening, Manny.
Good evening, Robbie. Good evening, Gretchen.
Hey, Manny, what's happening at the AFP? I mean, Centino, pinalitan na siya. I mean, di ba? He was already the AFP Chief of Staff, what, 5 months ago?
Yeah.
Oh.
Hindi pa nangyari to in the past.
Oo nga.
For the first time in the history ng Philippine military, na isang Chief of Staff naalis na, binalik pa. No? Pero walang paliwanag eh. Walang paliwanag yung Malacanang at yung AFP at DND kung ano nangyayari, bakit inalis si Bacaro.
Si Bacaro has not said anything.
Wala. Pero ang chismis, kumakalat siya nung October after matanggal si Vic Rodriguez as Executive Secretary. Sinasabi na kasunod na si Bob Bacaro kasi na-point daw siyang Chief of Staff under Vic Rodriguez. So,
Okay.
identified siya ron. So, yun ang minalas.
Beyond dun sa mga usap-usapan as to who is associated with whom and so on and how exactly this came about, ang isang importanteng konteksto rin dito is yung batas na nabanggit natin because there is now a law for a fixed term, a fixed 3-year term for AFP, Chief of Staff, among other things, to avoid yung nakikita natin revolving door na papalit-palit every 5 months, every 6 months. Now, well, looks like the revolving door is still continuing.
Yeah. Kasi nga, nung Agosto, nung ma-appoint si Bacaro as Chief of Staff, sinasabi ng military na eto na, simula na ng bagong law. So, Bacaro will be serving for 3 years until 2025, August. Kasi, Bacaro, magre-retire siya ng September last year. Kasi inabot niya na yung retirement age na 56. Pero dahil na-appoint siya nung August, so 3 years daw.
Pwede naman i-extend yun.
Extend o 3 years kasi yun ang sabi ng batas. No? Ang problema si Centino, nakakalimutan. Nakalimutan ni Bongbong. Hindi niya na-retire. Si Centino magre-retire pa ng February next month. No? So, floating, lumalabas. So, si Bacaro, hindi niya makakuha yung 4-star as Chief of Staff kasi nga, hawak pa ni Centino. So, binalik si Centino, hindi natin alam kung hanggang next month, antay nila yung retirement age niya, o he will serve for 3 years hanggang January 2026. Pagka ginawa naman yun, maraming aangal ng mga junior generals, no? Yung mga nasa PMA class 89, 90, 91 kasi wala silang chance na
Malalaktawan. Wala silang...
Kaya, sinasabi nga nung Colonel Aguilar na wala naman daw destabilization. Nakatakot yun. Kasi nung panahon ni Cory, sinasabi sa atin ng military, no? Walang destabilization. Pero meron pala. Etong kwento ko dyan, no? Noong 1989, a few weeks before the 89 coup, sinamahan ko si General Cacanando ng Army. Punta kami sa Scout Ranger. So, nung kausap namin ng mga Scout Ranger, sila Danny Lim, no? Sila Major Puruganan. Ang sinasabi nila, Sir, loyal kami. Hindi kami magkuko. Aba,
Nung panahon ni Cory, alam naman natin nangyari.
Sila yung lumusob doon. Muntik pang ma-hostage si Cacanando. Yan. Tapos si General de Villa, biniting yung mga senior officers sa Logcom. No? Yung mga general doon, Sir, loyal kami sa inyo. O kinabukasan, sila yung gumalaw.
Pero ito yung mga nangyari dati, and gaya nga ng sinabi mo, yung ibang mawagit mo, kuro-kuro. But what is clear, I want to bring it back to the revolving door and this new law that's supposed to fix that para may stability sa policy, sa direction. But is this a case, therefore, of the system basically rejecting the reform?
Well, maganda yung bagong law. Siguro deep selection ang kailangan. No? Wala sanang maapektuhan na kasunod na class. No? Kung pinili mong maging Chief of Staff, class 93, 94, siguro maintindihan ng mga matanda. No?
Kasi lahat tayo linaktawan.
Lahat sila linaktawan. So, okay lang yun. Pero ito parang may nasagasaan eh. So, parang hindi maganda. So, magulo.
Sige.
Let's talk about the changes, not just in the AFP, but also in the DND and the PNP. Sabay-sabay ito, no? What signal does this send, do you think, to our armed forces, our police, national police?
Well, yung sa DND naman, kaya naman nag-resign si Yusek Faustino, kasi inaasahan niya na gagawin siyang permanent na secretary. Kasi nag-retire siya sa military November 2021. So merong 1-year ban for his appointment sa cabinet. So nung November 2022, nag-expire na yung ban. So he was expecting na ma-appoint siya as permanent secretary. Eh hindi. Kaya nagtampo. So ang masama, ang bad timing, sumabay pa dun sa pagpalit kay Bacaro.
Kaya pinalitan na rin.
Ayun,
O nag-resign.
nag-resign. Oo.
Quote unquote.
Oo, eh ngayon sa PNP, masyado namang sweeping yung courtesy resignation ng 900 police, general at colonel. Eh kung target nila less than 10, eh ang dami naman nung
Is it just a matter of the president, getting a feel for how he wants his administration to go? Medyo kahit papaano ilang buwan na siya leading the country. Alam niya na kung sino yung mga leader na gusto niya on top of these departments.
Tingin ko cleansing. No? Ayaw niya na ng mga generals na identified kay Pangulong Digong. No, gusto niya, sarili niya, na loyal sa kanya. Eh marami dyan sa PNP, loyal kay President Duterte dahil tinaasan niya yung sweldo, di ba? Dinoble niya eh. So, yung isang general nga, si General Danao, PNP chief nung bago dumating si Bongbong, acting. Eh ngayon, tinapon sa Mindanao. So, palagay ko, nagdilinis lang si Bongbong ng mga opisyal na hindi kanya. No? Kaya din sa DND tsaka sa AAP.
Kaya lang alam natin, Manny, pagdating sa department na yan at sa armed forces, uniform personnel, yung paglilinis, hindi natin alam kung saan mapupunta. And it really bothers
Delikado yan.
people.
Delikado yan.
Anyway, hopefully we'll have more time to talk about it, but for now, we'll have to, that's all the time we have for this session. Maraming salamat, Manny Mugato.
Thank you.
Coming right up, some 400,000 devotees and counting flocked to Quiapo today to celebrate the Feast of the Black Nazarene. We'll get the latest when the big story returns. Keep it here on One News.
Okay.
China's border reopening after 3 years of global isolation is sparking a homecoming rush for many Chinese living overseas. Beijing has dropped quarantine for arrivals after ditching COVID-0, but visitors will still need a 48-hour negative PCR test. A rebound in outbound travel may take longer as many countries adopt stricter COVID testing requirements for Chinese visitors. The World Bank is warning further shocks could push the global economy into recession this year, with small states especially vulnerable. The warning comes in the biannual Global Economic Prospects Report due for release Tuesday. It says global growth could decelerate sharply and continue in high inflation, worsening financial conditions, and Russia's ongoing invasion of Ukraine will all impact events. Bloomberg has learned U.S. authorities are probing Barry Silbert's crypto empire over internal transfers. Sources say federal prosecutors are investigating money flows between Digital Currency Group and a subsidiary offering crypto lending services. The SEC is also reportedly conducting an investigation. None of Silbert, DGC, or its subsidiaries have been accused of wrongdoing. Global News 24 hours a day on air and on Bloomberg Quick Take, powered by more than 2,700 journalists and analysts in more than 120 countries. I'm Vonnie Quinn. This is Bloomberg.
Our scanner helps our consumers in the store get the right decision, so they pick the right avocado which is good for guacamole today or maybe good for guacamole in a couple of days, so you're not disappointed when you get at home and open that avocado. So shelf life of produce changes constantly based on seasonality or the weather, and we make sure that with our data, our customers make sure that the right produce gets to the store and the produce which is not good enough is repurposed and not being wasted.
5 of 6 inpakken en dan...
You're watching the big story here on One News. Though the Traslacion was canceled again this year, relaxed restrictions allowed hundreds of thousands of devotees to visit Quiapo today for the annual celebration of the Feast of the Black Nazarene. Joining us live from Quiapo is mobile journalist Pamela Vasquez, giving us the details. Pam, how's the situation there?
Gretchen, the annual procession has been suspended for the third year as a precautionary measure for against COVID-19. But this did not stop hundreds of thousands of devotees of the Black Nazarene from flocking to Quiapo to celebrate the traditional feast.
One of the highlights of today's event is the Misa Mayor that took place at the Quirino Grandstand on the eve of the Feast of the Black Nazarene. At least 90,000 devotees reportedly attended the Mass, which was presided by Manila Archbishop Jose Cardinal Advincula. Though there was no procession, the Catholic faithful braved the sea of people to get a chance to touch the image of the Black Nazarene. One senior citizen patiently waited in line just to see the image.
Umayos yung buhay namin. Hinihilabot ako. Gumaling sana yung apo ko na yung hilik niya na ano. Tapos yung kapatid kong naka-wheelchair na lang. Gusto ko pakalakad.
A devotee carried his own replica of the Black Nazarene all the way to Quiapo from Novaliches.
Patnubayan ng buong pamilya. Sana lahat ng mga anak maging sigla, may sarili-sariling trabaho.
To prevent COVID-19 transmission, there was no traditional paghalik or kissing of the image. But devotees were still allowed to wipe the image's cross and feet with a towel. Despite the restrictions, many of the devotees are still thankful for the celebration.
Mas maganda nga nangyari na umano ulit nga dumami ang nag-ano sa deboto. Kasi nung nakaraang taon, wala hindi masyado
Thank you so much. Sorry for the technical difficulties right there. That was mobile journalist Pamela Vasquez reporting to us live from Quiapo.
President Bongbong Marcos assures that his administration will continue to invest in the country's public transportation system. Marcos led the launch of the tunnel boring machine for the Metro Manila subway project started by the previous administration. The President also thanked the Japanese government and the Japan International Cooperation Agency, or JICA, for their assistance on the subway project. President Marcos also apologized to the public for the inconvenience caused by the construction of the subway project, which is expected to be completed in 2027.
We will continue to invest and improve on our transportation systems as well as to pursue more projects in the years to come. Having an effective and efficient transportation system will have multiplier effects on employment, the economy, our society. It will bring comfort, convenience, an easier life for all.
The Civil Aviation Authority's facility continues to face multiple inspections as government attempts to get to the bottom of the New Year airspace shutdown. Today, officials of the Governance Commission for Government-Owned and Controlled Corporations, or GCG, visited the CAAP facility. GCG says they are studying whether it's best to establish a separate agency to man the Communications and Navigation System, or CNS, or to have the system privatized like in other countries. Authorities are also looking to change the organizational structure in CAAP, citing the low number of air traffic controllers. CAAP officials are now preparing for the Senate inquiry into the airspace shutdown set on Thursday.
Now, some good news. Pump prices will be going down this week. Effective tomorrow, Tuesday, diesel prices will be slashed by 2 pesos and 80 centavos a liter. Gasoline will also be cheaper by 75 centavos per liter, while kerosene prices will go down by 2 pesos and 10 centavos. This rollback in pump prices follows consecutive weeks of oil price hikes as demand slows in the global market. Now, after another break, thousands of supporters of former Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro staged riots in key government buildings to protest his electoral defeat. Details on that when the big story returns. Keep it here on One News.
severe COVID outbreak after almost all of its pandemic measures were suddenly removed. That's causing people to bulk buy household medicines from paracetamol to ibuprofen, as well as antivirals including Pfizer's Paxlovid. It's happening elsewhere in the region too. People are bulk buying fever medicines to send to family and friends in mainland China. Some pharmacies are imposing purchasing limits on some cold and flu items, preventing people from buying more than 2 boxes per transaction in a bid to prevent stockpiling. In South Korea, the government is threatening punitive measures against pharmacies that sell, quote, excessive amounts of medicines to individual customers. Some medicine providers are capitalizing off of this boom in demand. We've seen instances of scalpers charging as much as 10 times the retail price of regular household items such as Panadol cold and flu tablets. One Singapore-based energy broker that we spoke to came across an ad on the popular social media app Xiaohongshu, or Little Red Book, from an overseas Chinese student who offered to bring back medicine to Shandong province for the equivalent of $30 in addition to the price of the drug itself. All of this makes for a pretty tight environment for people looking to buy and a potential windfall for those looking to profit.
Is Iran on the verge of a revolution? The protests that began in mid-September with the death of Mahsa Amini, a young woman in the custody of the country's morality police, have evolved into something much bigger. The protesters are now taking direct aim at the clerical regime itself. The government's crackdown, including mass imprisonment and execution, have not cowed them. If anything, their voices have grown more strident, and it is the regime that is showing signs of strain. Calls for the death of Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei are now routine, as are the destruction of statues and posters of the regime's heroes. Khamenei, who himself played an important part in the 1979 Islamic Revolution, will know the parallels. This may explain some of his vague promises of compromise, like suspending the morality police. But to bring him down, the protesters will need to co-opt some elements of the state itself. The 79 revolution succeeded only when the armed forces
Watching the big story here on One News.
The Agriculture Department is recommending the importation of 22,000 metric tons of onions, despite saying last year that they are not considering this move. They were citing enough supply then. The agency reversed their earlier pronouncements on the back of skyrocketing prices of the commodity. If approved, spokesperson Rex Estoperez says the supply is expected to arrive early next month. Luzon will get 50% of the imported onions, while Visayas and Mindanao will get 25% each. The DA says the move could possibly bring down the prices of onions to around 100 to 150 pesos per kilo from the current range of 450 to 600 pesos. Let's discuss this further with DA spokesperson Rex Estoperez. He joins us over the phone. Good evening and welcome to the big story, Mr. Estoperez.
Good evening, Gretchen and Robbie.
Sir, people are confused because dati sinabi wala nang importation, we have enough supply. Now this importation, this move to import again 22,000 tons. What is the situation exactly right now with onions?
Actually, before December, before the Christmas, tinignan namin yan at marami po tayong nahuli na smuggled. No? Para hindi masyadong bumaha yung ating pong onions. So, hindi tayo nag-import. No? But it seems nung December 28 with a meeting, and we have a suggested retail price of 250. And according to the stakeholders, at 250 okay na because they're considering also the cost of production. And they will encourage the farmers to bring down the prices, the farm gate prices. Kaya nangyari, until now, mukhang walang pagbabago because we went to the ground doon sa field. The prices are still 350, 380. Now, kanina 280, but still, doon pa rin sa, not at the level of 250 na suggested retail price. Yun ang pinag-agrihan yung December 28. So sabi namin, because of the onion is one of the drivers of the inflation, sabi namin, mas mabuti pa siguro, dagdagan natin yung supply to bring down the prices. So we'll import, yung baga we have to consider in our discussion of importation, the when to arrive and the volume. So we agreed on the 22,000 metric tons recommendation and to arrive on or before the first week of February. So depending again on some revisions na kung aprobahan man yan ng ating secretary, yun ang atin pong i-implement.
Sir, kung tama po tama po ba yung pagkakaintindi ko? You're saying walang problema actually sa supply dito except that hindi bumababa yung presyo and therefore this is an intervention to bring down prices.
It's harvest season sa ibang mga lugar, no? Price lang naman is a function of supply and demand. So kung kulang talaga ang supply mo, we need to bring down the prices, kailangan dagdagan mo yung supply mo. But it seems doon sa atin pong yung harvest ng ating mga magsasaka, hindi bumababa ang presyo. Because of, sabihin na lang natin, yung farm gate price of 300, hindi pa rin pumapasok doon sa SRP natin. Plus dagdagan pa ng ating traders, talagang mataas pagdating sa retail. So kailangan natin magdagdag ng supply while waiting for the peak season na harvest ng ating mga magsasaka so that pagdating ng importation natin, tama-tama po peak season na po ng harvest ng onions.
Sir, kamusta naman po ang sitwasyon pagdating sa hoarding and smuggling? I was taking a look at Facebook a while ago and I came upon this group. Marami po nagbebenta ng sibuyas, 250, 350 pesos. Is that, considered the smuggled goods? If you buy, sacks of onions online, do you get to track that also?
Yun nga, Gretchen, kasi nung the-crackdown tayo on the smuggled goods, merong nakalusot na rin. So, unti-unti nang labas because of the price. Diba? Alam mo naman, sino mag-hoard kung malaki ang presyo sa ating mga pamilihan? So, kailangan ilabas na. Even yung bagong ani, nilalabas na to take advantage of the price right now. So, kung lumalabas ngayon yan, these are smuggled, ang tingnan natin, hindi pa rin bumababa ang presyo kasi walang masyadong maraming lumabas na smuggled onions ngayon sa market.
Sige, maraming salamat po. DA spokesperson Rex Estoperes. Brazilian police fired tear gas at supporters of the nation's far-right former President Jair Bolsonaro as they attempted to enter the nation's Congress building. Footage captured by Reuters showed the moment the police faced off with a group of pro-Bolsonaro protesters holding a banner reading SOS Armed Forces. Other groups, meanwhile, attempted to enter the presidential palace and the Supreme Court. 3,000 people in total were estimated to have been involved in the protests. Riots sparked after Bolsonaro, who lost to leftist Luis Inacio Lula de la Silva, peddled false claims that Brazil's electronic voting system was prone to fraud. Sitting Brazilian President Lula said everyone involved in the violent movements will be hunted down and punished.
Before we go, there's nothing like a good old supernatural or paranormal story to make one fear the night. In Samal Island in Davao, residents of one barangay hurry back to their homes by sunset. The entire barangay Pichon Miranda in Samal Island is already quiet at around 7 p.m. The reason for this, a wakwak, a vampiric bird-like creature, was reportedly spotted flying around the area. One individual told Super Balita Davao that he saw and heard what seemed to be a large bird-like creature flying overhead. In the adjacent barangay of Cogon, another individual said that a manananggal was spotted in the area. Now, according to Barangay Pichon Captain Maynard Galutira, they are used to hearing stories similar to this. But until now, there has been no confirmation of the so-called aswangs. Authorities have since reminded the public not to believe everything that is posted on social media, especially if there's no basis or confirmation. But still a good deterrent to criminals who prowl the night, perhaps?
Paglubing ko alauna sa kadlawon. Nilolocate ko yung sinasabi nilang nandun daw yung manananggal sa Telmo. Sa awa ng Diyos, wala pang napapatunayan. Di basihan yung mga kwento-kwento para paniwalaan natin. Lasing ba yung nagkwento? O ano ba yung mga pinagsasabi niya?
And that's the big story tonight. For more updates, follow News 5, The Philippine Star, and Business World Online. You may also log on to onenews.ph for more analysis. I'm Robbie Alampay.
The big story is also available via Signal Play app. Make a free account now at signalplay.com and stream One News anytime, anywhere. I'm Gretchen Ho. Stay safe, Philippines.
We are One News, all sides, all the time.